So last year, if you were here at Linglestown, you studied world history. And as we discussed in class, you probably ended with the Roman collapse. So what we have to do here is that we have to get you from 500 AD to where we begin our studies, a little bit of review of the French Indian War in the 1760s. Okay, so the name of the presentation is The Colonies Begin. But a little bit of this will be a bit review from the previous screencast. So we did cover a little bit of when those colonies began. We talked a little bit about how with new improvements, and we also covered a little bit about why. But we're going to just talk a little bit, give you a little instruction here and a mapping activity, and that'll be it. So let's take a look here. So the when is basically at the end of the 1400s. The exploration begins. We talked about the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, the world is coming out of after the fall of Rome. So that's why for approximately 1,000 years, nothing really positive happened. People were just concerned about their own survival. But then you had that emergence of the Renaissance. So let's take out this map. Can you find it, please? Remember where your world continents side. I want you to find Europe, okay? And then remember what we talked about. There's Europe on the map. Okay, so where did those people in Europe want to explore to? So what I'd like you to do is, of course, draw a line on this map, okay, right here. And then I'd like you to just draw it from here to Asia, okay? So how would they get there? So just stop the thing and you can just do it now. Okay, hopefully you identified that obviously Asia is here to the east and that your line comes down this way, past Africa and reaching it that way. So that was basically it. So we remember this picture from the last presentation. The importance of Columbus and why he was so important is that since he's the first into the Western Hemisphere, it's crucial that Spain will now be in the lead about colonization and the money that will be flowing out of the Western Hemisphere for the next 100 years. So basically from 1500 to 1600 is the century of the Spanish exploration and domination of the Western Hemisphere. Okay, the next map was one that I gave you last week, so let's find this one right here of the Western Hemisphere, of course, of North America, Central America, and then South America. So let's find that, please. Okay, so you have your map out, so let's do this. Let's find the Caribbean, okay, or Caribbean, however you want to pronounce it is fine. So what I would like you to do is color the individual islands of the Caribbean. I would say probably yellow is a good color. Don't pick green or pink. We're going to use those two colors later on, okay? So here, down here, you can sort of see this is the Caribbean. The islands of the Bahamas, okay? Also down through Cuba, Jamaica, okay? Hispaniola is the large island, but you can sort of see it broken down. So I'd like you to color all these, and you can sort of blow it up and look down at some of these names. Maybe you've recognized some of these places. Maybe you've even been there. The next thing I'd like you to color is color Mexico, that same color that you colored the Caribbean. All right, and color Central America. So I've given you a little map here to help you out. So the next thing after coloring the Caribbean, I'd like you to color Mexico and Central America, and you can sort of see the names of those various countries right there. You can work on your geography. Continuing, the next thing I'd like you to do is color most of South America, with one exception, along the east coast, basically about 2 inches in from the eastern coast of the Atlantic. Don't color that, because as if you were paying attention to the last video, that one is of course settled by the Portuguese. Following along, I'd like you to then pick up whatever color you colored Mexico and the Caribbean and most of South America, especially the western part. I'd like you to stretch that claim then up into what today is California and Texas and Florida. So when you're done coloring the Caribbean, coloring Mexico, Central America, most of South America, your map should look something like this, okay? So the reason we did all that is so we could show you that this is all the Spanish claimed land in the Western Hemisphere. If your colors don't go this far up, that's fine, but just as long as they do include what today is part of Texas, definitely part of Florida, and stretching out here to the west in what today is California, and then of course this little area is called the Baja of California. This is just another different map that shows you the claims of the Spanish, so you can really see that the Spanish are the dominant force from Europe in the Western Hemisphere up through the 1500s into the early 1600s. So we're going to think about the Spanish and how dominant they are, but we're also going to talk about the other European countries that were also out there exploring. Those are France and those are England. So that's those important ones that will be, of course, the discussion that's moving on forward. So what I'd like you to do now is to try and add the French area and then the English area onto your map that already contains the Spanish area. So try and color the claimed areas, the British, in like a pink color, as you can sort of see. And they kind of mirror along the eastern seaboard, running down to the Spanish claim. They are also in northern Canada, up here, in the area of the Hudson Bay. But the green, as you can sort of see right here, the dominant one through here is the French claim that goes all the way down into what today is Louisiana and borders the Spanish claim coming this way out. So you can just approximate it, but I do want you to sort of have three different claims: the Spanish, the English, and of course the French. To review the reasons why these people and these countries did this, the European countries did it, I remember it this way, easy, the 3 G's, okay? So, think about words that start with G's. So, gold, wealth, riches, glory, both for their country and for themselves. Columbus wanted to basically be known as the Admiral of the Ocean Sea. It's a title that he created, but it was granted to him by the king and queen. And finally, God. Religion was paramount. It was the most important thing in their world and their life. And so they were very important to spread their version of their religious faith. Yes, they were all Christian people, but this is past the time period that the Christian faith has split between the Catholic faith and what would be known as the Reformation or the Protestant faith. So the first ones into the Western Hemisphere are the Spaniards. Spaniards are Catholic, okay? Now, you might know, probably don't know, but the English, yes, they are Christian, but they are Protestant. So not only are they enemies as far as countries, they're also enemies according to their religion. So all the colonies, as you see here on this map, are all expanding. And as you can sort of see, especially here when we talk about our history, you can see conflict coming because these people are bordered up against each other and eventually conflict will come. And that's where we'll pick up with our study of the period known as the French and Indian War.